This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome everyone to AnCan. It's May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. Did everyone bring their party hats tonight? And I don't have a margarita, faux or real. I don't know if anyone else there has.
I had a margarita before dinner.
That's good. I would think our gentlemen in Arizona, that they would be like more apt to have them, since you seem to be more in the land of margaritas. I don't know. In my mind, Arizona, I think of tequila and
At least I
Texas
had
too.
tortilla soup for lunch.
what did you say, Sally?
I said, at least I had tortilla soup for lunch.
Ooh.
There's lots of Cinco de Mayo in the news here in Texas.
Oh, that's right. You're in Texas. That's true. I guess you should have the sombrero on tonight, Judy.
Yeah, the news was full of the Cinco de Mayo dancers and things.
Would you like to show us how they did their dance?
No, I can't do that. You have to have a big full skirt.
Yeah, that is true. You would. So I don't see, everyone here has been to a meeting before. So thus far, we don't have anyone new. But I'm Michelle Nadine Baker. I'm in Boston, and we have some other moderators with us tonight. We just had the official AnCan background join us with Rick. But since we don't have any new members tonight, I was wondering if anyone who we have here thus far has needs any time this evening to share, if they have anything on their minds that they would really like to share tonight. And we'll make sure we'll save time. Rick?
I'll just say last week on Friday, I met with my doctor. And he said that my Richter's was no longer viable, so that was a good thing.
That is.
Excuse me, what is that? I don't know what that is.
Richter's transformation. This is what I had. I had large B-cell lymphoma and was treated with R-EPOCH 2.5 years ago. And since then, it has disappeared. It's not detected, so, yep.
That's wonderful. That's great. Actually, since I was going to see if anyone else, and we'll just make time for them at the end, in case anyone new joins us, is there anyone else? Oh, Rick's mic is not working. Uh-oh.
Oh, uh-oh. I don't know. You could call in.
Or dial, or leave us and come back. So, as we go around the room, Seth, do you have anything that you will need time for later this evening?
Yeah, I had something come up this week. I think it would be helpful for everyone.
Okay. We'd love to hear that. Ashley, do you need any time this evening?
I don't think so.
Oh, so if you change your mind, after others have shared. And Judy, do you have anything else that you want to share in the meeting, and we'll save time for you later on? I guess we'll play it by ear then. Okay.
That was the main thing.
That's a great thing that you don't have it anymore. Al, what about you?
Sure.
No, not right now, but yeah, we'll see how the meeting goes, and if something comes up, you bet I'll jump in.
I would love for you to share with others what you shared with some of us the other day about self-advocating. That would be great to help
Oh,
inspire some others here. So after some others share, if you could do that,
sure.
that would be
You
great.
bet.
Sally?
No, I'm just in the throes of trying to get everything put together to get this house closed this week.
Man, that's a huge job. I don't envy you any of that. And
I'm
her,
trying to rely on other people to get things done on time is probably the most frustrating thing I've ever tried to do.
you like to get it all done yourself, huh?
Well, I mean, things like I need a new fee schedule for the funding, and it was supposed to be ready this afternoon, and no, the county hasn't done their job yet, and I don't have it yet. So, it's one thing after another, and so just so much fun.
The fun never stops, huh? Until you're unpacked. It's working.
Right.
Herb, did you need any time this evening?
Yeah, I'll give an update on my caregiver responsibilities or whatever.
Okay. Maybe everyone else is out celebrating Cinco de Mayo.
Mhm.
I'm really not sure. So, Seth has stepped away. Seth, are you there? Okay, because I was going to go to you. So, since we've gone to everyone and see her, Seth would like to share. Here he is. I was trying to kill a minute or two there.
Sorry about
And
that.
I'll probably share later on. So, Seth, what's been going on with you?
Well, I just thought this information would be helpful to the group. I had a follow-up visit with a ophthalmologist from Sloan Kettering last week. This is a follow-up from like 6 months before. I had almost forgotten about this, but she was treating me for actually a very rare side effect to nivolumab. Back in late spring of 2020, I developed a problem with my vision. It was kind of hazy, and I had a lot of spots or floaters in my vision. And fortunately, both my oncologist and she knew exactly what it was with their experience treating cancer patients. My private ophthalmologist had no idea what was causing it, but they identified it as a rare side effect of nivolumab. So rare, in fact, that only 1% of people taking it develop the problem. So I guess I should have also played the lottery back then. She prescribed drops for my eyes, which I took for quite a while, but with decreasing frequency each day. And then she saw me regularly, and then the follow-up visits became longer and longer until this last one, which is a full 6 months follow-up. And she finally was satisfied that I'm clear and completely over it. But the drops actually were very helpful rather quickly. Yet she kept up with the drops for quite a while. I may be off the drops now for almost a year. Why I really hadn't given it much thought lately and was just reminded of it with this follow-up visit. And just thought I'd share that strange side effect of nivolumab with you.
Has anyone else heard of that? Or know anybody who had that happen? Thanks for sharing that, because when it's that low, not everybody even knows, like,
Yes.
to.
I just want to know what the name of what were the drops?
I think I just threw them out I had them in the fridge and I just threw them out. But yeah, I'm sorry. I don't recall. I might actually, give me a minute. I might be able to find them in my Walgreens app and let you know.
I was just curious because they put me on some drops as well. Mine, I can't see it from here, but they're over there. But it's XIFFI or something like that. Because the Revlimid, in my case, makes my eyes very, very dry, and I get blurry and very blurred vision as well. So it's interesting.
Yeah, nothing hard to come by. And as I said, it was also a relief that they were effective from the very beginning. It didn't take very long for me to see improvement.
Seth, were you in danger of losing your vision?
No, I never asked that, and they never volunteered that information. I mean, it never really got that bad. Honestly, I dragged my feet in going to seek help for it. And now, of course, I would recognize symptoms in a second and would seek help immediately if I started to see it come back. But no, that was never even mentioned.
What were your symptoms in case anyone hears of another patient on that has this, besides your hazy vision?
I describe it as hazy vision, almost as if you were looking through a lightly fogged window pane, and a lot of spots or floaters in my vision as well. I believe they said that it causes small crystals to form on a surface in the eye.
So it's not actually, it's actually all the members of that family that can do it, not just nivolumab. So any of these checkpoint inhibitors have a small percentage of problems with eye, like because it's messing with your immune system.
Or have you heard of others who've done this?
I mean, I just sort of did a quick literature search.
So, are there any others that?
I'm sorry, I'm not able to find it in the Walgreens app. It's been quite a while since I filled that.
So Seth, do you know what they treated you with?
Well, I'm looking for the prescription now, but I can't recall. What it was, and unfortunately, I just threw that little bottle out. I had it in my refrigerator all this time until she told me she pronounced me in the clear last week. Otherwise, I would, just run to my fridge right now and grab the bottle. And I'm looking through my Walgreens app, and I can't find it in here either.
So I do know with CLL, you have to, that things can happen with your vision, but it's not just when you're on treatment. And that's something good, good eye doctors will tell their patients, when they screen them, and then they'll ask them to come in if there are any questions on their eyesight changing. Because I have had people, a Facebook CLL group saying that they have lost their vision in an eye because they didn't act quickly enough. So there is something, but that's with the CLL. And then I don't know if you add on treatment, like you were just saying, Herb, checkpoint inhibitors, that's a lot. to
It's a
happen.
lot, but it's not common. As Seth pointed out, it's relatively rare. But I think, I mean, a place like Memorial, they're going to be aware of it, right? I mean, did they didn't, I'm sure, Seth, did they act surprised?
Nope, my
Right,
oncologist admits that it's not common, but he's seen it before.
right.
You know, it's one of the advantages. Look, with a rare cancer like multiple myeloma, I'm glad I did the right thing and went to specialists for
Hmm.
myeloma. And he knew about it because he deals with a lot of myeloma patients. So as rare as it is, he did know about it. My private oncologist did not know what the cause was. I was also thought it was curious that I've been in this trial since 2017. So it took years for that to develop. You know, I had been using it without any issue for years before this happened. Um, in fact, I was just reminded today when I was in therapy, when I was getting my infusion, the very first time they gave me nivolumab, I had a reaction, uh, a respiratory reaction, and they had to stop and give me hook me up to some can of respirator stuff that calmed me down, and they were able to proceed. They said that reaction is common to people on the first dose, and that often, just like in my experience, that was the only time they'll ever have that reaction, and I've never had that reaction again. But they were aware of it again, and they asked me to, you know, bring up if anything felt funny in my throat, and it didn't take long before I said, "Excuse me, something does feel odd," and they stopped it right away. Put a mask on me, had hooked up this can to it, and I breathed it in for, I don't know, 20 minutes or so until it was done. And they were able to resume the treatment in a little while after that. So I've actually had 2 negative reactions to nivolumab, but I forgot.
I don't know what
Entirely.
nivolumab is, Seth, for MM.
The
Nobody's
trial
ever
that I'm
talked about
taking,
it.
the trial that I'm taking is based around a home dose of pomalidomide
Yeah.
and a mixture of infusions of nivolumab and daratumumab.
But does nivolumab have a different name?
Is it
Nivolumab is what's called an anti-PD1 immunotherapy.
Okay.
It's used frequently in a lot of solid tumor cancers right now. And it attacks the PD stands for programmed death. It attacks a certain ligand on the cancers that prevent the T cells from entering the cancer.
Mm-hmm. I know what that is. Like how do you spell it?
Nivolumab, Nivolumab,
I'm
Opdivo.
sorry. I couldn't.
I'll put it in the chat window for you.
Thank
The
you.
trade name is Opdivo, Opdivo. You might have heard of that, Opdivo.
That I've heard of.
Okay, so it's very similar. It's the same drug as pembrolizumab, or very similar, but it's just made by a different company.
Okay.
It's directly competitive with Keytruda, pembrolizumab.
I had just never heard of it using in MM, and I thought I actually wrote a whole list of every drug used in multiple myeloma that we use as coaches, and I've never heard of that one.
That's why it's in a trial that Seth's doing.
Okay.
What was
He's still in the trial. That's exactly the reason.
Rick, I'm sorry, what was the other name you used for it?
Opdivo, Opdivo.
Opdivo.
That's the commercial name for it. I'll put them both in the chat window for you. So Opdivo equals nivolumab. That's right. Yes, I got it right. I've got to send it to everybody. There you go. So Opdivo is the same as nivolumab. I forget who makes Opdivo. I want to say it's Merck, but I might have got it wrong. It might be Merck that makes pembrolizumab. I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting that it's being used for a blood cancer, and obviously the drugs you're taking it with must try to sensitize the T cells to address a liquid rather than a solid tumor cancer, is what I'm guessing. Herb, can you see how Opdivo could be effective for a liquid cancer? You're muted right now, Herb.
Bristol Myers makes
Obviously, immune therapy is most effective for liquid cancers, Rick. So, I mean, if you're using a checkpoint inhibitor, it basically sort of gooses up the T cells. So, I mean, at least that's my rationale from having no knowledge specifically to this situation. But I mean, that's what checkpoint inhibitors are supposed to do. I mean, basically, PD1 links to PD-L1, and if you can block that interaction, T cells are more effective.
I have to say, the trial has been extremely effective in controlling my cancer. Since 2017, there has been virtually no activity found. I give of course, I have monthly blood tests and a monthly 24-hour urine collection. But I also give them as a requirement of the trial, I have to give a bone marrow biopsy. And they come back with virtually no trace of activity in them. So I'm obviously very fortunate. And I think I've said before, my oncologist has told me he's supervising the trial at Sloan. And he told me that I'm actually the top responder in my trial. So I got that going for me. But of course, it's done very well for me, and I'm very happy about that.
was this a first line treatment, or was this after relapse?
It was after relapse.
Okay.
Yeah, I only had about 16 or 18 months free after my stem cell transplant. They put me on one monoclonal antibody after that, whose name I'm afraid I've forgotten. But I had mixed results with that. My activity was sort of okay for a while, then it began to go up and down, and that's when they started me on the trial.
So I'm reading about it, and basically it said that after transplant, it's believed that Tregs drop, and as tumor burden reaches later, CD8 lymphocytes increase in number and express PD1. So that's the reason that they want to use the anti-PD1, is because they want to give you, as I said, specifically increase the activity of these CD8 lymphocytes. And
so for the unedited, explain to us what CD8 lymphocytes are.
Okay, they're the cytotoxic lymphocytes. If they have CD8, and it's a cell surface molecule, that identifies them as a CTL, cytotoxic lymphocyte, and they're the important killers. But if they express these things called PD1, that means that this cell they want to kill can prevent them from killing. So that's why you want to block that interaction with an anti-PD1. And if and it really is, Seth, it's exclusively after transplantation.
Now, these are different from T cells. These
No, they're T cells,
oh, they're
cytotoxic
T
T
cells.
lymphocytes. They're T cells. They're
Oh, okay, they are T cells. Okay.
right, CD8 T cells.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're confusing me.
Believe me, there's nothing harder than immunology. Cellular immunology is just I find it incredibly difficult to follow.
Okay. Well,
So
that's okay, because I was going to ask Al for an explanation, but if you don't get it, I don't think Al's going to get it. So, you know, that,
no,
that's just fine.
I need Al
I
for different reasons, but
Yeah, I know. Al provides a lot of advice to various people on some very helpful matters. So behind the scenes, um, but I did want to say something to Seth, which is that you're very lucky in one sense, Seth, because we've known people with these anti-PD1s and they cannot tolerate them. I mean, they last about maybe 3 to 6 months and they flare up and their immune system kicks back on them and it just doesn't work for them. So, but not everybody. So clearly, you know, you tolerate the anti-PD1 really. How often do you get it?
I'm only getting it once a month now.
only.
It started weekly. It started weekly, and then it progressed to maybe every other week, and then eventually I went to once a month. I also take pomalidomide on a 21-day cycle. That's a pill I take at home in conjunction with this. But I also find the infusions very easy to tolerate. I've always found myself very fortunate that I can walk out of treatment and feel relatively fine. It doesn't knock me out at all, like unfortunately so many other people can be affected by their chemo.
Yeah, that's it. Herb, we know. I'm trying to think who it is, but somebody that we're working with is getting regular Keytruda, is getting pembrolizumab every
Well,
3
I think
weeks or 4.
I thought, or I can't remember.
Yeah, somebody, but it may not be across the.
Carl had gotten it, right? Carl
That's
had
right.
gotten.
Carl got it for a while, but he didn't have a good time with it. It bothered him after about 4 or 5 months. But it might have even been from a different cancer altogether. But yeah, I mean that's really interesting. Did the doc give you any idea? I mean, he said you are you're the outstanding performer or whatever his language. But did he give you any idea how effective it is over the whole trial?
No, I haven't pressed him for questions on that, and he has not offered that information either. You know, along with my infusions, as we talked about at the beginning of the session, they also pre-medicate me with Tylenol, a dexamethasone, and Benadryl to, I suppose, counteract some side effects. Perhaps that makes it easier to tolerate. Just thought I'd add that in there.
And the drug that you're taking with it, is that a drug, Sally, that you're aware of that's used? It is. Okay.
Pomalyst, you mean? Pomalidomide?
Yeah, it's another derivative of Revlimid.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in the Revlimid family. Every month before my prescription, I have to answer the cell gene survey. Have you donated sperm? Are you actively, have sex with a woman who, I love how they phrase this, a woman who has her womb. That's exactly how it's written.
Has her room?
Womb.
Womb.
A womb. A womb. I thought, yeah, that's what I thought. I thought you said womb.
Wait till you start answering those questions monthly for 4 years.
Valley, I have been.
Oh, that's true. You have.
Longer than that, because before this I was taking Revlimid.
Oh, that's right. Well, these are the REM things that the government says they have to ask, and I'm ready to throw the phone at somebody once they start all these questions.
And of course, you have to talk to a pharmacist to
Pharmacist.
complete the prescription. Yeah.
Right. Yep, every month.
Just answering the same questions.
Well, that's interesting. I'm going to look more into this because, again, as I said, I had not put that in my list of drugs being used for relapsed or refractory MM.
It's very interesting, the information you've given me, and now I want to ask my doctor about why other people, that I've heard other people have trouble tolerating these, and am I just lucky, or is there something else going on that allows me to tolerate it so well?
I just put the trial link in the chat for this trial.
Great. There you go, Sally. You can check out the trial. Anyway, I think we should.
Sorry, I was just going to ask, what phase is your trial? Are you phase 2, 1, 2, or 3, or?
He has to be 3 if he's been on the trial for 4 years. 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, that sounds right. Again, I'm sorry, I don't recall exactly. Phase 3 sounds right. Yeah.
It's phase 1, 2.
Really?
Wow.
Really? Herb, I don't see that link.
Oh, he sent it to the organizers only. Let me copy and paste it. That was a
Sorry
mistake.
about that.
Yeah, because I know Al's very eager to look at this.
All right, I got it.
I got it.
Here.
I got it.
Done.
I got it. Oh, you done it. You beat me to it. Okay. Okay. How can a trial be phase 1, 2 after
Well,
4
it's
years?
kind of it. I mean, I don't know. I got to read the trial. I'm only reading right off of ClinicalTrials.gov.
Okay, don't shoot the messenger.
It says
And there's
official
only
title.
316 people.
Right. Multiple phase 1, 2 cohorts in combination about refractory hematologic malignancies.
It lists 2 drugs I don't recognize.
Well, you may not be in that arm.
Okay. How do you
It also says the completion date is November of 22. So you're coming up to your completion date. The first completion date was 2 years ago in September of 2020.
I see
Right.
last update posted April 12th, 2022.
Right.
It says actual primary completion date was September 25th, 2020. And the estimated study completion date is November 7th, 2022.
What does that mean, though? Completion for, would depend on the cohort or what, when Seth joined versus when
No, it
other
says
people?
the trial is completing in November.
Very strange. I think we should move along,
Yeah,
So,
I think Al should go ahead
Superwoman.
with advocating for how his advocating information, because this is just exactly what people should be doing, like Seth is doing, advocating for himself with a drug trial.
Yeah.
Al?
I hope he's not having technical difficulties too.
No, I'm here. I'm good. Well, like I was telling Rick and Michelle the other day, and they wanted me to share this, is some of you have known, I think it was the year 2020, the same year I was diagnosed. Later on, I think it was in September, I ended up in the hospital for 3 or 4 days and had to have 3 blood transfusions due to my hemoglobin be down below 5. And how it got there is I was told that somewhere along the line, my lab work fell through the cracks and they weren't getting it. So I'm being treated up at the Mayo Clinic, which is about less than 2 hour drive north of Tucson, and I'm doing all my lab work here in Tucson. And I would go up there like I think it was like every 3 months back then, or 6 months, and then they saw me once a year. But anyway, they were not getting my lab work up there. And so for a couple days there, I was taking plenty of hydria. I think it was like 1,500 in the morning and 1,500 at night. And I don't know if it was due to the hydria. Well, it had to be due to the hydria that my hemoglobin went way down, and I ended up in the hospital, and they weren't getting my lab work. Well, got that done and everything, and here I was getting ready to switch over to Banner due to the fact that I felt that I was left out. They forgot about me, and I was pretty bummed out. But per Rick and my primary care doctor, they told me to stick with Mayo. Not everybody gets in there, and if I got in, to stay with them. So I did. And like I told Rick and my doctor, I said it depends on what my doctor tells me. Um, well, I need to hear from her first. I'm not going to say anything. And sure enough, she was very, very apologetic. She couldn't stop. She couldn't apologize enough, and she was very sincere. Moving on forward, the year after that, last year in 2021, somewhere along the line, I was developing mouth sores, and that's one of the symptoms of the hydria. And talking to my doctor and the nurse practitioner up there, I asked about the mouth sores. And again, I did this on the portal. So I would send messages, and I said, I'm getting mouth sores. Is this normal? Is this one of the side effects to the hydria? And one of the nurses that answered that said, oh, no, this has got nothing to do with the hydria. She says, this is no side effects of the hydria. Well, then 3 months later, I met with my doctor um, from Mayo, and I asked her, I said, I sent a message, and there's like 3 different nurses that answer the messages on the portal. And one of them is Nurse Kristen, which she's awesome. She responds within an hour. Every time I send a message, she gets back with me so thorough, like in an hour, less than an hour, she responds. Well, when Nurse Shannon got it, and it took a couple days, and it got back, and no, this has got nothing to do with it. Well, then when I met with Dr. Palmer, my doctor from Mayo, 3 months later, I asked her. I said, I had some mouth sores a while back, and I sent a message in my portal, and Nurse Shannon says it's got nothing to do with mouth sores, and I've gotten these quite a few times. I'm getting them less now. And she looked and she goes, oh no. She says, yeah, I see that on here. oh no, this is a side effect of the hydrea. She says, I'm gonna have to talk to her, or she said something that she's gonna, confront her about it or correct the problem, whatever. And then I sent her another message earlier this year, and I looked it up. I wrote it down, and it was February 2nd. And I was doing lab work every 2 weeks for the whole year of 2021 or 2020, and did lab works for nearly um, half the year, every 2 weeks. Now we got them further apart, and I'm doing them every 3 weeks now. Well, on the message from Nurse Shannon, she responded back to me, yeah, she got my message, and I sent you a new lab order week to get lab work done every 3 months. And I didn't respond to that. But now I'm going to have my 3-month appointment tomorrow. And it's with a nurse practitioner, Dr. Palmer's assistant. And I want to bring this up, and I've been thinking about it, and we're going to talk about this as soon as I'm done here. But now I need to find out a way how to ask nicely that I don't want Nurse Shannon answering my message on my portal.
Mm.
And I sort of feel that after the 2 responses that she had, I'm not wondering in the back of my mind that it was her fault that I ended up in the hospital. She didn't raise a red flag of my lab work to her doctor, which is my doctor. And by that time, it was too late, and my hemoglobin was way down and caused me to go in and get 3 blood transfusions.
I mean,
So
I'm not sure you have to be polite, Al. This is
I was going to say,
this is serious malpractice.
yes.
This isn't just sort of, oh well, it'll go away. You ended up in the hospital. I put the side effects of hydroxyurea in the chat. It's well known, obviously. It says sores in the mouth and throat. If any of these
Mm-hmm.
symptoms do not go away, call your doctor. And if she did not deal with it, that's verging on medical malpractice. And I think you have every right to say, I think I need a different nurse practitioner handling my case.
I think she's just the nurse. I think she's just a nurse. She's not the nurse practitioner, is she, Al?
No. She's just one of the nurses that responds to the portals. And there's
Well,
3 of them. It's Nurse Shannon and Nurse Kristen.
but did the others do a
There's
better
another one that
job?
I rarely hear of.
Have you dealt with the others?
Oh, yes. Yes.
I mean,
Yes. Like I said, Nurse
I don't
Kristen.
think you
She's
have
very
any.
thorough. She responds right away.
I think you basically have to say this is unacceptable as a patient. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
here we are, AnCan will tell you you're your own best advocate, but you're not only advocating for you. It's hard for me to believe this didn't happen to other people as well.
Yeah, I
She's not
mean,
just she's not just ignoring you.
yeah. Al,
Yeah. Well, it's not that she's ignoring me, and maybe she might not. I don't know. She might not be plugged into my treatments. Like she said, she put in paperwork for me to get my lab work done every 3 months. Wait a minute, I don't get them done every 3 months. It back then it was every 2 weeks.
right. So I think, Al, that if it were me, I would be saying, I've had two different instances with this particular nurse, whatever her name is, Shannon or whatever her name is. I
Yes.
just don't have any confidence in her. I'd really prefer that she does not address my issues. I mean, I think that's what I would say. Now, the downside of that is if you don't hear back from them in a while and you say, hey, I sent you an email, they're going to say, well, you only wanted certain people to look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that would happen. No. I know what
So
you're saying, though. I know what you're saying, but yeah.
Anybody
this,
else have anybody else had a experience like this with a medical professional that they just have lost confidence in, and how have they
yeah,
dealt with it?
when I first got diagnosed, we were being seen by a nurse practitioner that was just had terrible. She just made us feel like I was going to die tomorrow. And we finally indicated to the physician that we'd rather not have her as part of our care. And they changed.
I also asked for the doctor, if possible. If I'm going to pay the same thing, I might as well be paying the doctor as a nurse practitioner. I also have my doctor's personal email, and I've only emailed him twice for something. It was like my appointment was scheduled for July of this year. I'd had a PET scan. I wanted to know results. He had responded to me on the my chart, but I wanted to know a little more in depth. And so I had asked for an earlier appointment, and they said, well, there's not any, we can't, you know, we'll put you on the waiting list. And I waited a week and I thought, I'm not going to do it. So that was one time that I took the personal email and I emailed him and said, hey, I'm really concerned, and you know what a worrier I am. And he responded, well, he didn't respond himself. The next morning at like 8:30, I had a text saying, we have an appointment for you the next day. So an email to the doctor is really helpful.
Right. But I think what's even more helpful, Judy, is that you speak up. The
Oh,
fact that you spoke up is what
uh,
made the difference.
yeah, I've been known to do that a lot. I've had several times when they said, oh, the insurance is going to take 2 to 3 weeks to okay your deal. And I said, I don't think so, because my insurance usually does it within 24 to 30 to 72 hours. And I would call the insurance and say, hey, you're going to get this referral. I really need it to be expedited. Would you please take care of it? And I had a surgery when I had my large B cell lymphoma. I had to have half my colon removed, and I had it done. I was getting out of the hospital when they said I should have it approved.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you have to. What about Sally or Michelle? I mean, you guys are pretty vocal. Have you ever run into these issues in the hospital where you've just lost confidence in a member of your medical team?
I didn't lose confidence, but along with what Judy said, um, before I was diagnosed, I kept having leg pain, and my orthopedic surgeon kept saying, "Oh, it's shin splints." Well, after 8 weeks of saying it's shin splints, I literally demanded a CAT scan, and I had dislocated the um, cervical joint here in my neck, and I said, "This is not normal. I've never had a bump in my collarbone." And so finally, after being a little obnoxious about getting a CT, he called me at 4:30 one Saturday afternoon and said that my collarbone looked like it had been eaten by a mouse, and I better go see Dr. Newman, the oncologist, on Monday. And it came up that my shin splints was actually a lytic lesion on my fibula, and I started treatment on Thursday.
Wow.
My plasma load was 85%, but I had no other symptoms. I mean, I thank God in heaven, no kidney involvement, no back problems. But I mean, it took was April and May that he kept telling me I had shin splints.
Mm,
So
mm,
you got to
mm.
speak up. You got to say something's wrong. Got to do it. And the
Mhm.
emergency room said I didn't break my collarbone. There was nothing wrong. It was just, but it what I know it's dislocated. So
Mm. Michelle?
Yeah, I've had a few instances. And the reason, so what my frontline treatment, I was on a trial, and I was on FCR, which is traditional chemo, and anyway, it was the gold standard for CLL, plus ibrutinib, which wasn't approved yet, frontline treatment, and it was in conjunction, full strength of both. So, after about 5 months, and I was still on both, I just started having fatigue, but that's normal with chemo, right? Traditional chemo, and then I asked when I was done with that, how long before I wouldn't feel the fatigue? And they said, oh, a few months. And a few months went by. Oh, it's probably 5 months. 5 months went by. Well, some people it's a little longer. And every single appointment I talked about my fatigue and how I wasn't who I used to be. And the doctor had the nerve to say to me, well, it's your age. And I said, well, it's funny. My age right before I started treatment was only, whatever it was, 8 months ago, and I had tons of energy, and now I don't since treatment. So this went on and on for 2.5 years, 3 years actually. And finally, one day I realized the correct wording, which was quality of life. And that's when everything changed. It was just the change of wording of what it was. And I was taken off of it. And I returned to that's when I could start advocating more, because I was me again. So that was one instance, but every single time I mentioned it. But then I also learned, I think they only report certain things once. It's certain intervals, right? But not every time. But once I said quality, it was affecting my quality of life. So that was one thing I learned. And then actually yesterday, something happened when the nurse called me. So there was someone on my care team, not someone I deal with directly, but one of the back, I deal with the nurse practitioner and the hemonc. But there's another nurse on the team that I've never seen, but she called me to see how I was doing with the after effects of my vaccine. And it was going along well. And then she brought up something and my spine went up and I realized why. She said, well, do you have seasonal allergies? And it dawned on me, my treatment, if you all recall, those of you who are here, when I relapsed, I was so bad when I started treatment. It should have been started sooner. She's the nurse who would call me back when I called to say, I was having a hard time breathing, and went through all that was happening. And it was on my chart that my disease was escalating. And it was the same nurse, because she asked me the same question. Do you have seasonal allergies? And because of that, the doctor never called me back. And so when I found out her name, and in fact it is, I looked back in my notes. So I now know I am not dealing with her ever again. Because of her, my treatment didn't happen. It could have happened a few weeks earlier and I wouldn't have had to have been in such horrible, intense pain. And my spleen wouldn't have got, the whole thing. It wouldn't have been as it was.
But
so, and I will
have you raised that with your medical team though, or is it just that you're saying, I won't deal with her again?
No, I will raise it. This is just yesterday, that this happened. So I will raise it, and I'm trying to I'll probably do it verbally with my doctor first and then see what she says. And I see her in another month. So, it can wait, but it's just, that was to me appalling when I realized it was the same person. And that question of a leukemia patient who, if she had looked on my chart, would have seen how close to treatment I was anyway at my appointment before that. And it's textbook, all of the things I was feeling. And she's supposedly the nurse is on a specialized team, ELO.
Michelle, this is, in many ways, this is sort of a very, very similar situation to Al. So what do you think Al should do when he goes to see his doc tomorrow, or speaks to the nurse practitioner tomorrow?
I think it needs to be mentioned, but in a way that just in case there's that slight chance, right, that it wasn't negligence, I would share it in a way so they don't discount what Al says, or so that they just in that mere chance that it wasn't negligence, right? That maybe in fact you really did need it, but I think you need to say something. And I think, I mean, yours is much more serious than mine. I mean, like mine, I didn't end up in the hospital. Well, I ended up with a blood transfusion, but still, you know, I know that perhaps I should have pushed it more at the time, although I don't know how I could have any more than I did, but I should have called back maybe for someone else. But Al, for you, and plus I'm, you know, I've been in treatment. You were new to all that too. I think you do need to absolutely say something, or maybe say it in that respect.
Yeah,
You know?
I do want to bring it up. And again, you know, I want to be careful. You know, I don't want to piss anybody off, you know, but they need to know. But they need to know.
Yeah.
But she gave you the incorrect information.
And you know, maybe she didn't. Maybe they're going to have her back. But I don't feel that way. I think she screwed up.
Well, and you know.
Well, you know, when I see what Herb put in the chat window, and it says, you
Yeah.
know, hydroxyurea may cause side effects. Tell your doctor if you have sores in the mouth and throat, and you did, and she says, "Oh, you don't have to worry about that."
Right.
That's pretty clear, and like just like Al said at the beginning, that's pretty clear
Yeah.
cut. But I think it's, well, from your standpoint, it's up to Mayo how they want to deal with her.
And the thing is, it's in the portal, so they have all
right.
it's in
They
there.
they have it identified, but how Mayo deals with her is up to them. But your point is, you just don't want her to be dealing with you because you don't have any
Right.
confidence in her. And I think you can say that. I just lost confidence in this person.
Yeah.
We can talk about the reasons if you like. I would just rather that she doesn't attend to me. And,
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
I like everybody else. Everybody's great, but I have issues around this person.
yeah. You know, it's going to be with Jennifer Andres, and I'm sure after the meeting, Jennifer will meet with Palmer and probably tell Dr. Palmer exactly what I said. And I just don't want Nurse Shannon answering any questions in my portal.
There you
That's
go.
it. You know.
There you go. So I have something that I want to just mention. I have a shout out that I want to make. If we can move on to a different topic, can we move on to a different topic, Michelle?
Yes.
So I want to give a shout out to Ashley, because Ashley achieved something that we think was incredible. She arranged a meeting for us with Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, which is almost impossible. They are very difficult to reach, and the meeting was to talk to LLS about possibly starting a AYA blood cancer group. AYA are adolescents and young adults, for those of you who are not familiar with that term. And I believe, Ashley, you and Alexa met with them this morning. Is this true? Are you there? Oh, 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 oh. I think something's either.
It's loading. It's loading. Are you updating your software?
We don't know what's loading or who's loading. We've all been having problems today, so why should you be any different?
Either that or you're drowning. I don't know which it is.
Yeah.
With the water behind.
Okay. All right.
Oh.
Well, we'll go out, come back in, and then tell us how you did with LLS, because I think it's fantastic that you managed to get some response out of LLS. Is amazing.
Sure
Amazing.
is.
Um,
I never had luck with them myself.
you have or have not?
Have not.
No. I mean, this is why it's just incredible that we even had a meeting with them today, because they don't talk to anybody. So
So Ashley, we don't see you now, but we see your.
I think now she's gone, but she'll be back. She's logging out and logging in again.
What is going on with this tonight? You didn't
I
have
don't know.
sound, I didn't have video,
I
and
know.
Ashley.
Everybody's have. In the meantime, Herb, how's your brother? Give us a
So I was going to give a report.
give
He
a
is,
report.
so I think he's day 25 now past his transplant. And up until day 10, it was pretty rocky. He was suffering. He was not eating. He was feeling miserable. And then one day, his numbers just started to climb and just rock. And, all of a sudden, his hemoglobin's better than mine. And so a week ago, he came home. So that means it was like after 2.5 weeks away from home, he's at home but he is having a problem sleeping. And maybe Sally has heard of this. He's itching. Is this something that's normal?
Yes.
So what can be done about it? Or you just go,
Just make
or
sure that
it's
you're
just a
hydrated.
fate?
Just hydrate, and what is he on any drugs yet?
I don't think so.
Yeah, because Revlimid also will give you a rash and makes you itch, but it will go away. You're just very dry is basically
Huh.
what it is.
So it's
So make
dryness.
sure he's
So,
hydrating.
uh-huh. I wish I could get him to come to the group, but I can't. But I mean,
But up
so,
until day 30, he'll feel really miserable, not miserable, but no energy, terrible. And all of a
mhm,
sudden, on 28 or 29, all of a sudden you wake up and my golly, you can do things. But it's
mhm.
very, very important to exercise even through this terrible fatigue.
Yeah, I don't think he's doing much exercise.
You got to
And
exercise because
uh-huh.
that'll help you get through it. I wish I'd
Yeah.
exercised more. I wish I'd known that before, but
mm.
I
I
didn't.
will I will transmit that information.
Well, Ashley's back. Good.
Yeah, Ashley's with us. So
Right.
Ashley, tell
Can
us what
every
happened.
yeah, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, great. So Alexa and I met with the president and vice president of patient education and support this afternoon. And well, I guess it was afternoon in my time zone. And we talked to them about possibly partnering up and making a adolescent and young adult meeting for a blood cancer group. And I think it went really well. They seem to be interested in it. And I think traditionally, uh, they said that they don't have any meetings that are not moderated by a social worker or some sort of professional like that. But they said they are going to reach out to some people to see if there's any legal reason if they have to do that, and if not,
Oh, did you freeze? Did you freeze? Oh, this platform's having a horrible time today. Oh,
Oh no.
I think you froze, Ashley, but we are so proud of you. I hope you can hear us. Everybody, we're very proud of you. She's
Oh
gone. She'll be
no.
back. Oh my gosh.
Has
Oh
this
my
ever
God.
happened before? All these little issues in one night?
No.
Oh, here she is. She's back.
I'm sorry, it's my internet connection. It's not the best.
Oh,
I have to, we know, and we're gonna get a new internet, router. But that's why I'm going in and out.
we are so proud of you. It's amazing. How did you get the meeting?
So they have like a blood cancer chat room where you just type what you want to say, basically. And there's a social worker who moderates it. And I asked her if if she thinks the organization would be interested in doing a video meeting, and she said she would pass the information along. So I wrote her an email, detailing the benefits of video meetings and
Mhm.
the importance of having a young adult space. And she forwarded that to I think the vice president of the patient education, and they decided to set up the meeting. So that's how I got to them.
That
Well,
is fantastic.
you did amazing.
Thank you.
You did amazing. And I know that Alexa did some work for you. For those of you who don't know, Alexa is the person who runs this organization and holds it all together. Just in case you were wondering. Isn't that right, Herb?
Without her, we would not be here.
That's right. So she does an incredible job for us, and I know that you and she work together a little bit on it. And I spoke to her this afternoon because she's helping me with something right now, and she was thrilled. And so we'll just keep our fingers crossed. I mean, it would be great if we could do something with them. We'd be chuffed, and it would make a huge difference for the AYA community. So,
I think so. Yeah.
yeah,
It
thank you
would.
for pushing us on this. Thank you for pushing us on this. It's a great job.
That's
Thanks.
Great
terrific.
Thank
job.
you for the opportunity.
I'm sure that
Pleasure.
Baron is very happy right now and proud of you.
Yeah, yeah,
I hope
yeah,
so.
yeah. I think if we can get it going, that's who we'll dedicate this to, for absolutely sure. For sure, for sure.
Otherwise, we're going to have to, I hope it doesn't mean you're going to drop out of this group.
No, I'll still come.
You've been with us since pretty much the beginning, right? You joined pretty
Yeah,
early on.
Oh,
But that
did
is
I?
yep.
just,
I don't actually, yeah, I don't actually know when this group started. I just know that it was started, before I came to it.
Yeah, not long before. You were very early on. We know that. I know that.
So when did this group start?
you were there, I think, Al, too. Oh, no, you weren't. You were
No,
there
Al
almost.
wasn't there.
That's right,
No.
almost at the beginning. And it was happenstance. But
I would say about 3 to 6 months before you got diagnosed, Al, is my guess.
when did it?
We had a
Good
tough
question.
time we had a tough time finding enough people, moderators, and then slowly patched it together. Michelle was in from the very beginning because when we decided we were going to do it, I already knew Michelle from Healthy Voices. So, so we connected through Healthy Voices, and I can't remember when it was. I don't remember.
Now, Healthy
It was,
Voices would it be a great thing? Ashley, I sent you that, right? And Sally?
Yeah, I did get that email. Yeah. I'm
yeah.
gonna do that. Yeah.
Do you have the email for people that want to apply, Michelle?
Let me get it. This is one thing I think I read between the lines. Since they haven't had any in person, all the in-person seats, I don't know if there are any left, but it might be virtual. Being able to attend virtually. Which I'm not sure about, because I know, I did mention that since, we weren't able to have it in person and you were supposed to go in person, you don't have to apply again. So for those of you who are interested, and once I find this link, and if not, I'll send it to you all by email. You can apply. I mean, if they say virtually only, don't take offense. It just means that, the whole thing may end up being virtual again, depending on the status of COVID. But they used to be in person. That's how Rick and I met. If it wasn't in person, we wouldn't have met probably.
That's right.
And it's a conference that really assists your patient advocacy. And it's people in all kinds of disease areas for anyone who's interested. It's not just cancer. It's not just blood cancers. It's, MS. It's every kind of heart condition. I don't know, Rick, I'm just trying to think of all the different things. It's mental health. It's caregivers as well for people if they're just starting out in their patient advocacy or into it but growing it. Sally, what you do would be great. And anyway, and this conference is amazing. It brings you all together and it teaches you best practices, and you meet others and you get inspired by them as well in their work and ideas for your own, and you stay in touch. And it's a huge community, and I learned so much from it, and also felt, hey, I'm not alone out there. There's other people trying to do these things too in their own disease areas. So it was just, it's hard to describe because it's such an experiential type of conference. I don't know, Rick, you were involved for many, many years, so I'm sure that
not only maybe a year or 2 years before you. But are you on the advisory board this year? Because Peter is.
Oh, I am actually the head of the Healthy Voices Impact Fund Advisory. And so Peter that's great. Yeah, was he last year though too? You want to say?
Yes, and then it got canceled or something, or I don't know. Yeah.
So they told me that hopefully next year I can be on the regular advisory, that they had a lot of repeat members again because the conference wasn't held in person.
Yeah.
That was one of the other.
But it is worthwhile. So it's a great experience, and I'm looking forward to going this year. One other thing I wanted to mention to you, I don't know if you if you've watched yet, but if you haven't, I did an interview last Wednesday with an absolutely amazing lady. She's a quadriplegic from multiple sclerosis, and she's unbelievably inspirational. She was originally a public advocacy lawyer, and then because of her MS, she had to step down from that. She started as a fine artist, and then she lost dexterity in her hands, and she went on to making artwork from her own brain MRIs. And all she can talk about is how she can advocate from a wheelchair, and she's quadriplegic. She can't even feed herself. She's just incredible. So we haven't posted it on our blog yet, but here's the YouTube connection. I'm just putting it in now. And I think it was just something for me, it was just an honor to do it. She's really something. She's done a TED talk, and so I just sent it to you there. So when you have a little bit of time, just watch her, because she, you watch, the show was like just under an hour. But you get up at the end and you say, oh my gosh, how can people do so much? And especially when they're so compromised. She was really
No, she is.
something.
It was really inspirational
Yeah, yeah,
to see
yeah,
her. And then I
yeah,
looked at her artwork.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's great, her artwork. I mean, it's amazing. She finds figures and patterns and creatures in her brain MRIs.
Right.
It's just she was pretty amazing. So I just think if you have a little bit of time and you want to, get a little lift, a quick lift, this is a great way to do it. So
Getting back to Healthy Voices, I need to write to them because just because I don't have how to apply. I just have those who were supposed to attend in person. I just have those forms. So
Can you
I'm going to
can you send the link or something? I've tried to look up Healthy Voices and I get all this alcohol abuse stuff and how to take care of your voice, but I
Ashley did it. It's in the chat window. Look, go to the chat and click. She's ahead of you.
because I had sent, did I send that to you? I can't find what I had sent out before.
Oh, I didn't realize that I didn't realize, sorry, Rick, that was Healthy Voices. I couldn't figure out what that was.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, which one? That's from the Ashley one, right? Is that the
Yes.
Thank
the
you.
one?
Yeah, that's the one that you sent to us.
I'm a little slow tonight, so that's my excuse. Benadryl. So, yeah, so the conference is in Philadelphia at the end of September, or maybe it'll be virtual. We'll see. But
Well,
hopefully the other. So,
it does say virtual on the website.
on that, if you click there, yeah. I'm still going to write and find out, actually right now.
It's been virtual for the past 2 years, and they were trying to make it back to a physical meeting again this year. So they're betwixt and between, I think. And one of their problems is that they actually had awarded all the places to people 2 years ago when they cancelled, and they promised them that they would be invited to the next meeting. So a lot of places have sort of already gone to people already. I think they may have to have a catch-up meeting, 2 meetings a year. What do you think, Michelle?
Sounds good to me. As long as we're not back in the throes of horrible numbers, but that would be, Pete, if there's anywhere, I would think that'd be pretty safe. The people who are attending would understand that the importance if you have to be masked. I wanted to come back to Judy to see, did you have anything else? For some reason, I made a note that you might have something else you had wanted to share. You're all set. Okay.
No, I'm good.
Thank you. Okay.
I was just delighted that I was able to get on with my computer even after I was on the pad. I'm on my computer tonight. So.
And we can hear you.
Good for you. Mm-hmm. Good for you, Judy. And I wanted to circle back to Seth. Seth, did you have any experiences to share from your stem cell transplant that would be helpful for Herb's brother?
I can't think of any, honestly. No. Things went pretty much straightforward as I was told they would go. Just, the nervousness of everyone's telling you that you're rebuilding your immune system and you have to be so careful.
Well, I mean, he's being very careful. We're not getting anywhere near him with that, and we're masked when we're not near them. So, and
Unfortunately, he's going through it with COVID on top of everything.
right,
Um,
that's the whole, right, it's not, so he's being, I mean, we just don't see each other we're not seeing each other that much.
I remember when I finally, in the later stages, when I was able to go out of my apartment, I would wear a mask. And people, when they see you wearing a mask back then,
Right, it was like, whoa.
they thought you were something contagious. They didn't understand you were protecting yourself. But no, I think my experience was pretty ordinary from what I've heard about it.
Well, I think I appreciate this advice, and I think it seems like he's on the right trajectory. It just, they told him they did a bone marrow sampling and told him everything's fine, and he doesn't have to go back for 2 weeks. So
What do you mean a sampling there?
I don't know what I thought they'd sampled his bone marrow. I
Yeah,
thought that's what they.
yes,
Hmm?
after a stem cells transplant, you get another bone marrow biopsy to see, what the level of plasma cells in your bone marrow are. And hopefully it's zero, but,
Hmm.
that's because of the melphalan, the chemo, and then they'll be able to monitor it and everything.
Oh, he says he's going back on May 19th for a PET scan and bone marrow biopsy.
Yep, that's normal. And then after
do you,
that, he'll go on maintenance of some sort.
He said, and then today he said, feeling better. Problem is I have a lot of itchiness. So I really will
Dry
tell him
skin,
that it's hydration.
most likely. He should be
Yeah,
drinking anywhere from 80 to 100, ounces of water a day, or Propel or Gatorade or anything he wants.
but
Wow.
doesn't the itchiness come with some of the blood cancers? Because I had itchy, and I think Lynn talked about it too earlier when he first got on. Has anybody else experienced itchiness?
Yes, I
uh,
was
I
itchy.
have it occasionally, but you know,
Yeah.
yeah, I get hives every now and then, but that was
Ashley
only when,
was Ashley, was your itchiness after your stem cell transplant?
Yeah, it was. You couldn't stop me from scratching.
Mm.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
antihistamines don't do anything.
Mm-mm.
no,
Yeah, they gave me like a cream or something.
Hmm.
was it clobetasol?
I
I don't
don't
go anywhere.
remember.
Um, so yeah, for me they did, but I hate, like we were saying before about Benadryl. I just hate taking Benadryl. That would help. And then is it Zantac that was taken off the market? Or yeah, for some
Yeah.
reason there's something in that also could help.
Hmm.
And it did. It's odd. It did, except then that was taken off the market. And this clobetasol cream really helps, but it's not the same because it's not, it's just you have to apply it like crazy. I don't know, actually, if you found it's like just once over wasn't enough necessarily. Al, what did you do? Did you have
Uh,
like Ashley's cream and I did?
yeah, I had itching in this at night, and they asked me about it, but it wasn't that severe. Um, and I guess it's just one of the side effects off the blood cancers. I guess I don't know, but sometimes would get really itchy after I got out of the shower, but it
Hmm.
would only last a little while. It was lasted a short while, and then it'd go away. But it was every day for I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 months for a while. Yeah, I don't have it now. Nothing bothers me now.
That's good. Ashley, what about you? What sparked yours?
It was shortly after the stem cell transplant. I remember I was still in the hospital, so I guess it was within a month because I was in the hospital for about a month afterwards. Yeah, they gave me, it just kind of went away at that time. So
Hmm.
I get dry skin now, but it's not anywhere near what it used to be, which is great.
That is good.
I do get apparently my scalp is very dry though. I have apparently it's like scaly, and I went to the dermatologist and she said she prescribed me a shampoo to use to help it.
And that worked, I take it, the shampoo.
It's working.
According to the American Cancer Society, itching is caused by radiation, targeted therapy, immunotherapy, and chemotherapy, and the blood cancer itself.
Huh.
They pretty much covered everything, huh?
Yeah. And then I go 3 paragraphs down. It says other causes include dry skin, dehydration, infection, or a condition that is not cancer.
Yeah, they
So,
definitely did cover.
Ashley, did the cream help you, or how long did you have to use it?
I don't remember. I don't really remember much from that time. I wasn't in the greatest, health.
Anybody else have times like that when you go through, when you're going through the thick of things in your treatment? Does anyone else have that, and that they don't remember certain things, certain little details? I know I do too, Ashley. I have some times like that. Sally, you probably remember every single thing about everything, right? No matter
Only
how
because,
poorly.
only because I wrote a journal. But it's interesting. I go back and read the journal. I did it about a month ago, and I thought, oh, I forgot about that. So,
It's a great idea to do that. Ashley, I guess you and I are alone on that one.
I kept
On
a
the,
journal, but I didn't do it. I didn't do it every day, so I missed things, and I haven't actually brought myself to read it. So
yeah, I kept notes on everything too. And now I did finally start to go back to it once I relapsed. And it was like, oh yeah, certain things. I probably should have looked at it a little sooner to see patterns.
Yeah,
There's a good
my
reason to
daughter,
have.
my daughter and my wife both gave me books to keep a journal, which I really wish I would have done it. And my doctors did warn me about brain fog. And yeah, so when they ask me how old I am, I just take a year away because I was sick a year. I wasn't really there.
one of the best journaling sites is called Caring Bridge, because
Yeah,
what you can do is you can actually you write your journal and you can share it with your friends or just post it so anybody who wants to read it can. So you don't have to keep updating everybody individually, and it's just give them the link, and it's wonderful.
I did that. That's the only way I journaled.
Yeah, and it was the only way I could keep up with everybody. I was too tired to do anything else.
Right.
I remember I thought about doing that, and I decided I didn't want everyone to know everything. I mean, like family members, right? I would probably give that to. So I was lucky in that Brian would send out updates every month. Like when I'd be at Dana-Farber hooked up for infusion for my chemotherapy, he would send out a note, the update then. That would be his reminder to do it. at the end of the week. So, but I do wish I had done the Caring Bridge just for me and just never given that out.
Yeah, and
Because
you don't have to give the link to everybody. Just give it to
Right.
who you want to.
Yeah.
All this itching talks makes my head itch.
I've started scratching myself.
Don't start yawning.
I started itching from my very first chemo that I had, the BR that I had the first time, and went to my regular oncologist, and she was giving me cream, which didn't do much. And that was when I found a dermatologist at UT Southwestern that kind of understood the cancer with relationship with dermatology and stuff. And I took some pills that helped with the itching.
I don't know if I shared this before. I learned that there are only, I can't recall if I have it in notes, not my notes in front of me, but either 42 cancer institutes or 52 in the United States that have the specialty of dermatologists basically that specialize in oncology. And it doesn't mean just skin cancer. It's all the effects that the different treatments can do. It's a growing area. It's pretty new, which is interesting, right? That it's new. But
Dr. Wan at UT Southwestern is trying to build a team and include the dermatology as part of the team too.
Yeah, there are many new areas like cardio with oncology, and Seth started off by telling us about ophthalmology and oncology, which most places don't have that. You've got to go to somewhere like Memorial Sloan Kettering. I mean, Memorial Sloan Kettering also has a very good dental group. And some of these centers of excellence have special dental programs for oncology. So it's always, if you're at a center of if you're at a community hospital, you're not going to get it. But if you're at a center of excellence and you've got a specific problem, it's always worth asking if they have a special onc group for whatever the condition is.
Yeah, they have me getting regular checkups with the dentist.
Yeah.
At Sloan.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they even have dental at Sloan. Wow. That's impressive that they have
That's
all
interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, my teeth are in reasonably good shape. I come in once a year. They took a look and pronounced me happy and rebooked me for another year.
Now, do you take Zometa?
I had.
That's why you have to go to the dentist, because Zometa can do, give you necrophyzing of the jaw, and if I even have a filling, I have to be on antibiotics 2 days before I even get a filling, because our immune system is so low that any time we get any kind of dental work, there's the risk of infection and pneumonia. So
yeah, my dentist always wants me to get fill an amoxicillin prescription before I see him.
Yep, all MM patients have to have that.
CLL is if you've ever been on treatment.
Yep.
Not until you've been on treatment.
Yep.
So you know that too.
Guys, I'm going to leave you in the room because I've got to get back to some other work that I'm doing here that I want to try and get finished tonight. But it was, as always, great seeing you. And hopefully I'll see you next month. And that's it. That's all from me for tonight. Tell me what you think of that video with Elizabeth Jameson. I watched it. Bye, everyone.
Good night, Rick.
Good night.
Well, is there anyone else that has anything that they would like to talk about before we all sign out this evening?
Michelle,
Sally, what?
I appreciate
Yes.
you. I appreciate you putting the link on Facebook.
Oh, thank you. I never know because, the emails go out and I know that some people see them or don't see them or they get spammed out. So thank you, Judy, for that.
I don't think I got the email this time. Of course, I had so much trouble the last time that I was on. It was like, I don't know what's happening. And tonight I didn't have that much trouble. So who knows?
So I will see you guys next month too.
Herb, it was so good
I
seeing
gotta
you.
go. Have fun.
Take care. Thanks for your note about the FDA panel. I appreciated
Okay,
it.
great. Talk to you later.
Take care. Well, Judy, I'm glad it worked for you tonight. And I'm glad you said that. Yeah, Al, are you on Facebook?
No, I'm not. My wife is. I read the paper on there.
Ah,
I read
should
the
I?
I read the news. I read the news on
So,
her Facebook.
because for the moderators, I tagged them and I didn't know how to tag you. I kept trying and I didn't see you. So I was like, okay, well, whatever. I mentioned your name, but I
Oh, okay.
couldn't link.
I think you all have my email.
Judy, can you want to give it to me so I'll make a note and just make sure it's on the mailing list?
JAL
Mhm.
WILL Jalwill at hotmail.com.
Did anyone else not get the email about our meeting? So we always meet the first Thursday of the month, always the same time. For that matter, it's always the same link, which helps. I just put it in my calendar, every first Thursday. And I know that some people do have problems with getting the emails. Now, Sally, you sent out an email. I know that people got, but I think maybe because it was from you at AnCan, maybe, I don't know. Did everyone here get Sally's email about 2 months ago? Month and a half ago? I'll ask, well, Sally, you can speak on it more.
Basically, it was just to update everybody's what blood cancer they have. So, because me personally, I didn't know who had what, and it was easier to that and just to make sure our records were correct with emails and everything.
Yeah, I did get it, but again, brain fog. I forgot.
Same.
We know
I forgot, so I'll do it now.
we know who you folks are, but that's good.
And we were trying to reach out to some of the people who hadn't been attending. Again, they'd been here earlier, and anyway, so it was just sort of a touch base type email.
Because there are some people who I know will like DM me on Facebook, or that they were avid attendees and suddenly they're not attending. So sometimes they just kind of maybe have a bad couple of months, but we like to reach out to them just to see, maybe they missed the email.
Okay, I've got to sign off. My son was supposed to fly in today and he got canceled, so we're trying to deal with
Oh
that.
dear.
So,
Oh dear.
we had bad weather.
My
Where are they
husband's supposed to
having
be
bad weather?
Bad weather during the day, and all kinds of flights were canceled.
What area? Where?
He was flying from Des Moines to Dallas Fort Worth,
Okay.
and it was delayed, and then finally canceled till tomorrow. So,
And where do you live, Judy?
in Frisco, Texas.
Okay.
Yeah.
In Texas. Okay.
So, see
Well,
y'all.
nice to see you all, and I'll see you next month.
Take care, everyone. Have a good
Night.
month.
Good night,
Great
everybody.
work, Ash.